Welcome back to episode 6 of my Road to Big Dogs 5 series. So day 1, Monday, my bench day. I had 210 kilos for 2 sets of 5. We decided to just hit a rep PB as opposed to going up. I will be going up to 215 next week. However, I was really lazy in this session. I pretty much skipped all my normal sort of warm-ups. As you like to jump by 20 kilos, get the upper body really nice and warm, but this session I pretty much just jumped plate by plate, which is what you're seeing. My first set of 210 was really shit. I actually only got 4 reps. I just didn't feel warm at all. I somehow came back for the second set and managed to get 5 for rep PB. I know for next week that I need to just spend more time warming up. I can't afford to be lazy, especially when I'm going for heavy sort of rep PBs. This was actually my second set, and realistically it was harder than what it should have been, but again, it was my own sort of fault. I was just lazy. Instead of jumping by plates, I can still jump by plates, but I just need to do more reps, but I was just lazy. You can hear me scream, what am I doing? Because I was just so frustrated that I failed the first set, but then managed to get it the second time, which is usually the opposite of how it goes. Finished my bench with 170 for 8, just close grips again, just trying to implement a bit of a pause as well, just build more power for the chest, more strength through the triceps. Hit a few accessories as well, nothing crazy, just some rows and stuff like that. Onto squats now. If you watched last week's video, you would have seen or heard me say that my calves cramped in the walkout of my top set of 330 for a triple, which kind of made the set a bit shitty. I actually bought some flat shoes to try. I bought some Avances 1.5 Apex Power, whatever the hell they're called, just to see how I would go squatting in like flat-footed shoes. I've been using heels for forever. I injured my ankle in footy when I used to play, which meant that I couldn't actually move the joint, so the only way I was able to hit depth was with heels. That problem has gone, so after the cramping in the calves, I thought I'd try some flat shoes. These are actually really comfortable shoes. You can see my squats actually look pretty good. I'm still managing to hit depth. I think next week I will monitor my depth more closely when I get to the top sets. Again, sometimes it felt like I was sinking them when I probably wasn't quite where I wanted to be. But the sets felt really good. I felt more stable when I was walking out. I felt more in control. I felt like I could push harder. So I'm going to continue using them. I've only got probably 1 more week of bare knee stuff anyway, but I'm going to try and use them in wraps to see how that feels as well. If it feels as good as what it did bare knees, then I'll probably use them throughout the prep, but if at any stage it feels shit or I'm really struggling with depth, I'll probably chuck the heels back on. Tonight's top set was 345 kilos for a single. That's 5 kilos above the best bare knee squat I've done to date, and it moved really easy. I think that I probably could have sunk it a little bit more. I also think that I went a little bit too wide with my stance, which sort of just made that getting that depth a little bit harder. If I was in heels, I probably would have hit depth fine, but going forward next week and the weeks on, I'll set up my phone to capture my depth just so I can double check that I'm actually hitting depth. I really don't want to have any issues with depth going into comp. It's just not worth it. I'd rather just chuck my heels back on and make sure of depth every time. So last warm up 320. So again, for the first session, squatting in flat shoes, even this felt really nice, really comfortable. The more I watch it, I feel like the depth isn't too bad, but then I keep watching it and I'm like, no, it was shit. So really happy with how it moves, and the next squat day I have, I'll make sure that I'm sinking it. I think it's 360 for a bare knee single, which would be a 20 kilo total PB, which I'm really excited for. Overhead press session. So this was actually my birthday, Thursday. Pretty excited for this session because there's a few things I get to do that I've been really hanging out for. One of those things was finally beating my best overhead press of 160 kilos. Last week I doubled it and it felt like I had 2 to 3 reps in the tank. So I was pretty excited to come into this session and really just try and see what we can hit. I will say though that my elbows and my biceps were feeling a bit iffy in the warm-ups. It did get better as I got to my top set, but warming up they just felt a bit not great. But it is what it is. My triceps also feeling a little bit tired on the warm-ups, which isn't something I usually have to deal with, but I think that was more just from the sore elbows and the sore sort of biceps. So usual 20 kilo jumps, 115 moving like air. Funnily enough, that felt really heavy in my hands and I was like, oh, that's weird. But then I did this 135 and it felt back to normal. So again, really smooth set, can't complain. Jumped to 155 for my last warm-up before tackling the 170. So the 170 moved just as good as I could have hoped. I accidentally re-rack it a bit too hard and it bounces out. Just quickly, there was no one in even remotely close. So that's why I didn't bother catching it, because I didn't want to hurt myself and there was no one around to hurt. After that, we moved on to 180. I was really excited for this, but I stumbled. I rushed the unrack and the walkout and the stumble killed me. It felt like it sapped all my energy. It still came off my chest really well. You can see I'm a bit, obviously, unhappy about it, but there's not really a lot you can do. With such heavy weights, it has to be perfect, and that one just wasn't. But I know that next time I try it, I'll definitely get it. It didn't feel super heavy, I just messed it up. So this was the one that I was probably more excited for than actually the overhead press. So last year, exactly 12 months ago on my birthday, I flat benched 220 kilos or 5 plates for the first time. And I was super fucking excited. It was really, that was like a milestone lift for me. So this year on my birthday again, I wanted to try an incline, 220 or 5 plates. So after the overhead coming into this incline sets, I was pretty cooked. That 180 did sort of take it out of me. And like I said, I was sort of having issues with my elbows and stuff, so I wasn't 100% sure. I was going to jump from 180 to 220, but I thought I'd better take 200 to be safe. When I rewatched that on the video, it moved a lot faster than what it felt, so I knew I'd be good. And here it is, 5 plates, 220 kilos, good pause, and honest to God, it felt so easy. So much so that I decided to up it to 500 pounds or 501 pounds, 227.5 kilos. This is actually my comp max flat bench at the moment. So that'll probably tell you how well my off season has gone in terms of strength, although I am a really good incline bench bencher. I didn't really pause it as long as I wanted, but I just wanted to make sure that I got the rep, so super fucking happy with that. Now, deadlifts. So we did 310 for 3 singles last week, but this week we've decided to go up a bit because next week I'm actually away at National, so I won't really get a chance to train. So we decided to do a single at 320, 330, and then 340. I'm actually deadlifting in shoes for the first time in fucking forever, and it felt really weird. But I will say that the deadlift session went pretty well. There are, however, 2 major things that I think I need to sort of work on. One is I've been locking my knees way too early in the deadlift, sort of just as the bar gets past my knees. You'll see it in the top sets more than the warm-ups, but it means that I end up trying to like stiff-legged deadlift the last portion of the deadlift, and it's just horrible. It makes the lockouts really, really hard. The second one is I'm starting a bit too far away from the bar. One of the main reasons I've been starting further away from the bar is because I end up destroying my shin. But I think that it needs to be closer to my shin, and if my shin cops a beating, then that's all part of it. The closer it is to my shin, sort of like sitting in my mid-foot, I actually feel like my lats are a lot more engaged. And that combined with not locking my legs too early is exactly what I'm going to go for. This 330 moved pretty well. This was a bit closer. You can see I sort of like hitch it just a tad. Again, that was me trying to lock my legs late, but too late. You'll see with the 340 that when I get the bar a little bit over my knees, I lock my legs, and it means that the lockout becomes a bit harder. So Again, locking my legs too early, and you can see that I'm sort of pitched forward. Again, the bar's starting way too far away, so something to work on in the future.